Welcome everyone! In today's video, we're going to look at the history of Western civilization. But before we proceed, if you're new to this channel, remember to go ahead and hit the bell icon to subscribe so you won't miss the informative videos we will upload in the future. This video addresses the question that what is the history of Western civilization? Do you know what Western civilization is? What's that? Oh, you don't? Wait, that is why you clicked to watch this video. Very well then. Let's attempt to define the history of our Western civilization. But before starting Western civilization history, we'll discuss why it is important to study the history. Why should we study history? So guys, as we all know, history is every civilization's clinical record of human nature and behavior, for which reason it has always been cautionary and problem-solving for subsequent generations. We study the past not to avoid repeating it, but to learn how previous generations survived the same mistakes we make. Historians worthy of the name have an ability to live imaginatively in the past as fully as they do in the present. In doing so, they are chameleon-like, but not for the purpose of camouflage and deceit. Only by such abstraction can they become knowing insiders in worlds that no longer exist. In this regard, historians are people with dual or multiple citizenship. Only their second and third countries are past civilizations and distant ages. Now, we will know about the people who really need to study history. Who needs history? Do you know who's the enemy of people who know the history of the world? The historian's natural enemy is people who know and want only to know their own immediate culture, which they accept as a supreme measure of humankind. It is the civic duty of historians to remind their fellow citizens that they are neither the first nor necessarily the most interesting people to have walked the earth, and that nations that lead their lives as if they were have often suffered terrible consequences. But what about today? Today, the distant past is a neglected vital resource. History fills comparatively fewer shelves in local bookstores and libraries, and the history that is most prominent there is about familiar subjects within our contemporary culture. Of the 16 books on the mid-June 2004 New York Times nonfiction bestseller list, only 2 were history, both well-worn American, Ron Chernow's Alexander Hamilton and Cookie Roberts' Founding Mothers, while Dan Gordon's record-breaking mystery fiction, The Da Vinci Code, led all categories of adults reading by wide margins. History majors in American colleges and universities overwhelmingly show a similar sensibility. Over the last 3 years, only 20% of history majors at Harvard University enrolled in a field-specific tutorial in pre-modern history, ancient, medieval, or early modern history. For the other 80%, the world began in the more comfortable 19th century. You guys may look how history knowledge is molding with the change of society and eras. Now let's proceed with our main topic. Firstly, we'll look at what Western civilization is. Western civilization strains its roots back to Europe and the Mediterranean. It is linked to historical Greece, the Roman Empire, and the medieval Western Christendom, which emerged all through the center a long time and skilled such transformative episodes as the development of scholasticism, the Renaissance, the Reformation, the Enlightenment, the economic revolution, the scientific revolution, and the improvement of liberal democracy. The civilizations of classical Greece and historical Rome are considered seminal durations in Western history. Predominant cultural contributions also got here from the Christianized Germanic peoples, together with the Franks, the Goths, and the Burgundians. Charlemagne based the Carolingian Empire, and he is referred to as the father of Europe. We've discussed basic roots of Western civilization, now we'll learn where it emerged from. Contributions additionally emerged from pagan peoples of pre-Christian Europe, together with the Celts and Germanic pagans, as well as a few full-size non-secular contributions derived from Judaism and Hellenistic Judaism, stemming return to Second Temple Judea, Galilee, and the early Jewish diaspora, and some other Center-Japanese influences. Western Christianity has also performed an outstanding function within the shaping of Western civilization, which throughout most of its records has been almost equivalent to Christian subculture. There had been Christians out of doors of the West, along with China, India, Russia, Byzantium, and the Middle East. Now, there are many other cultures that were unfolded by Western civilization at that time. Western civilization has unfolded to provide the dominant cultures of contemporary Americas and Oceania. and has had have an impact on in recent centuries in many ways. Let's take a glance towards its historical background. Following the 5th century fall of Rome, Europe entered the Middle a long time, throughout which period the Catholic Church crammed the strength vacuum left inside the West by means of the autumn of the Western Roman Empire. Even as the Japanese Roman Empire or Byzantine Empire continued in the East for centuries, becoming a Hellenic Japanese contrast to the Latin West. By the 12th century, Western Europe turned into experiencing a flowering of artwork and gaining knowledge of, propelled through the development of cathedrals, the established order of medieval universities, and extra touch with the medieval Islamic International from Al-Andalus and Sicily, from wherein Arabic texts on technology and philosophy have been translated into Latin. Christian solidarity was shattered through the Reformation from the 16th century. A service provider elegance grew out of the metropolis states, initially within the Italian peninsula, see Italian city-states, and Europe experienced the Renaissance from the 14th to the 17th century, heralding an age of technological and creative strength, and ushering within the age of discovery, which noticed the upward push of such international European empires as the ones of Portugal and Spain. Do you know which countries were affected by Western civilization? The economic revolution began in Britain within the 18th century. Beneath the effect of the Enlightenment, the Age of Revolution emerged from America and France as part of the transformation of the West into its industrialized, democratized modern shape. The lands of North and the South, the US, South Africa, Australia, and New Zealand have become the first part of European empires and then home to new Western countries, at the same time as Africa and Asia had been largely carved up among Western powers. Laboratories of Western democracy were founded in Britain's colonies in Australia from the mid-19th centuries, while south of the US largely created new autocracies. Inside the 20th century, absolute monarchy disappeared from Europe, and notwithstanding episodes of fascism and communism, with the aid of the close of the century, clearly all of Europe became electing its leaders democratically. Most Western international locations have been heavily worried inside the First and Second World Wars and persistent bloodless battle. World Warfare II noticed fascism defeated in Europe, and the emergence of the USA and Soviet Union as rival worldwide powers and a brand new East-West political assessment. Now, we will look Europe in religious point of view. Other than in Russia, the EU empires disintegrated after International World War II and civil rights actions and wide-scale multi-ethnic, multi-religion migrations to Europe, the Americas, and Oceania decreased the earlier predominance of ethnic Europeans in Western culture. EU nations moved toward extra economic and political cooperation through the European Union. The Cold Struggle ended around 1990 with the disintegration of Soviet-imposed communism in principal and Jap Europe. Within the 21st century, the Western International keeps considerable worldwide economic energy and impact. The West has contributed many outstanding technological, political, philosophical, artistic, and religious components to modern global way of life. Having been a crucible of Catholicism, Protestantism, democracy, industrialization, the first main civilization to seek to abolish slavery at some stage in the 19th century. The primary to enfranchise women beginning in Australia at the end of the 19th century, and the primary to position to use such technology as steam, electric, and nuclear energy. The West invented cinema, TV, radio, phone, the car, rocketry, flight, electric mile, the private PC, and the net. Produced artists together with Michelangelo, Shakespeare, Leonardo da Vinci, Beethoven, Vincent van Gogh, Picasso, Bach, and Mozart. Developed sports activities along with soccer, cricket, golf, tennis, rugby, and basketball, and transported people to an astronomical object for the primary time, with the 1969 Apollo 11 moon touchdown. That's all for today's video. Feel free to share any helpful information we've missed in the comments below. Don't forget to like the video and hit the subscribe button so you don't miss any new videos from our channel. Thanks for watching and see you all soon.